Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Okay, so my dad passed away in 2020. Um, he was the most amazing person I've ever known in my entire life, and I'm not exaggerating when I'm saying he was the most amazing. So many good characters, so many, and I don't think even 2 days, 2 weeks would even cover it. So I'm just gonna pick one about one of my most favorite stories of my dad. So I'm just gonna tell the story about what my dad been through. Okay, so for background, this is my dad. You can take a good look of his face because it will relate to the story later. So this is my amazing dad. He was actually blind on one eye, but it didn't stop him from being great, even better than people with both eyes to see. Okay, so he was the most amazing person I've known. I've mentioned that. And my dad taught me that in life, it's always unfair. You can always play life by the book. You can play life by the rule, but there are still people who want to mess with you. And like elsewhere, when you're doing something good, it will always be guaranteed that you're gonna get yourself some haters out there. Guaranteed. So my dad was no exception, right? So for background, my dad was working in a very big company back in Batam, where I was born, back in the early 90s. I'm not gonna say the year. Let's just say early 90s. So, okay. So my dad was the big cheese at the moment. So every shipment must be authorized by him first to be able to go through, to be able to enter Indonesia through Batam. So he was the big cheese. But even with all that power, with all that authority, he didn't want to abuse his job. He didn't want to take any kinds of briberies because that's what his dad taught him. So it was passed down by my super amazing granddad. Okay, so the story was his man actually did him dirty. So my dad's boss kept getting these anonymous letters saying that my dad took many kinds of briberies from this company, from that company, from so many companies. And my dad, it got up to the point where my dad was like, he had enough and was like, okay, you know what? Let's take this matter into the court's hands. So picture this. In court, my dad was there, the boss was there, his men were there, and those people who allegedly bribed Mr. Arifin, my dad, were also there. So the first person came up to the front, and then he gave his testimony, how Mr. Arifin accepted some amount of money. And then my dad, being the genius self he was, without even losing his calm, he whispered to his boss and said, why don't you ask him to describe Mr. Arifin's physical appearance? Genius, right? Like if it were me, I would just lose it there. Like I would go nuts, but not my dad. He asked this person to describe the physical appearance. So the person did that. He goes, yeah. Well, Mr. Arifin had this big curly hair. He had this mole on his face. He was dark-skinned and so big and so on and so forth. I mean, this is my dad. He had no mole. So obviously, the person was lying. And my dad, he whispered again and said, that sounds like Mr. X, one of my men. Why don't you call him, ask him to stand out, and ask this person to confirm if it was indeed Mr. Arifin who took the bribery. Genius, right? I know. So the boss did that, and to everyone's surprise, the person confirmed that he was indeed Mr. Arifin who took the bribery. So as it turned out, people, my dad's men, had been forging his signature behind his back and taking all kinds of briberies, because who likes a good person anyway? Like, you're just just get out of my way. You're getting in the way. Get out. I want to get some money. I want to have fun. Why are you doing this to us? That's probably what they thought. Okay, so After that day, can you imagine? My dad would go to work. He would show up every day with absolutely nothing to work on because people just avoided him. They didn't want to have anything to do with him because apparently this Mr. Arifin is so scary. He would take matters into the court's hands. I don't want to have anything to do with him. And my dad, did I tell you that my dad was a genius and honest person? So he felt like, I didn't earn this money. I don't deserve to get paid. So he went to his boss and talked to his boss, like, can I get my old job back? And the boss was like, you know what, you should just be grateful. Just show up at work, be grateful that we didn't fire you, and enjoy the money. And obviously my dad was super unsatisfied with the answer. So he decided to take things even higher, and then higher, and then higher, until he got to the most powerful man he could ever got his hands on. So he managed to score a 5-minute appointment with this very powerful man. He said, oh yeah, well, so I got framed and I just want my old job back, that's it. And this very powerful man just smiled and nodded. And then this man proceeded writing a very short letter consisted of one sentence and one sentence only. So the letter got sent to my dad's boss. As soon as the boss got the letter, everyone in the company just went bananas. They were like, oh my God, what did he do? And then the boss just called my dad to his room and like, Arifin, why would you do this? You know you're ruining the company's reputation, right? Like, you could have talked to me about this. We could have done something about this. And then my dad was like, except I did. I did come to you. I did ask for your help. But you were like, oh, my hands were tied. Like, you should be grateful and blah, blah, blah. So I thought to myself, I needed to find someone who y'all couldn't ignore. That's why I went to this person. And ever since that day, my dad was repositioned in Jakarta. That's why now I live in Bogor. And not long after, he quit his job and managed to score an even better one in a bigger company. And yeah, and he lived happily until his very last second on earth? Yeah. Okay, so moral of the story. Haters gonna hate, potatoes gonna potate, and roti's gonna rotate. Keep being your genuine, genuine, and honest self, and let the truth reveal itself when it's time. Oh, by the way, if you are wondering about the letter, because I left you hanging, right? If you're wondering about it, if you wonder what it said, why did you tell us what it said? I'm gonna tell you, don't worry. So, like I said, it only consisted of one sentence. It said, in bahasa Indonesia, tolong pekerjakan kembali Arifin sebagaimana mestinya. Tertanda, Presiden Republik Indonesia Soeharto. That's Hania. I'm Hania. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Luar biasa sekali dari Kak Hani atas story-nya ya ternyata. Oke, sekarang kita langsung saja akan dengarkan komen dari judges kita. Mungkin bisa dari Bunda dulu.
Oh, dari saya. Iya. Biar tiga-tiganya bisa kasih kesempatan. Kamu pencerita yang baik, kamu menunjukkan kecintaan yang besar pada ayahmu dan membagi hal-hal baik dari apa yang dimiliki oleh ayahmu kepada kami. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Dan di tahun itu ya, siapa yang berani sama gambar terakhir?
Exactly.
Langsung begini.
Yes.
Tapi gue berani loh.
Oke, boleh silahkan dilanjutkan Mas Ferry.
Oke, ini terasa relate karena saya seorang ayah yang punya anak gadis juga gitu. Saya berharap nanti ketika saya meninggal anak saya bisa menceritakan dengan cara demikian. Good job, Hani. Tepuk tangan dong.
Ya, halo Hani.
Halo Mas Rizky.
Halo, sama-sama dari Batam kita.
Oh wow.
Well, I believe your dad is also a great storyteller.
He was.
Because you can tell this story is 100% about your dad, and that's refreshing karena dari tadi kita dengar cerita tentang diri sendiri, which is nggak salah juga gitu, tapi you talk 100% about your dad, and it's something yang gue sangat appreciate.
Thank you.
Sama-sama. Dari gue from the technique, it's refreshing, cara bawanya, terus abis itu your quirk dia enak juga, enak didengerin, dan terakhirnya juga closing. Jam
scare ya. I'm so sorry.
Jadi it's a good final performance. Thank you udah menutup Follow Storytellers dengan sangat menarik. Ya, udah. Oke, ini Hani kan? Hani, ya yang terakhir kan. Oke, dari gue itu aja. Thank you, you're a good storyteller.
Oke, terima kasih banyak untuk ketiga dewan juri kita dan juga Kak Hani yang sudah menutup serangkaian cerita hari ini dengan penuh kisah dan juga luar biasa sekali. Sekali lagi beri tepuk tangan yang meriah untuk kita semua. Luar biasa sekali.